Shalom, shalom. Today we're going to be talking about the Book of Giants. Now, this specific book is incredibly graphic, and it also contains some really sensitive topics, so viewer discretion is advised for this video. Fragments of the Book of Giants were found in Western China in 1943, and then in 1948, fragments were found with the Dead Sea Scrolls. They were written in Aramaic, though it is believed that there is probably a much older version that was written in Hebrew. It's dated somewhere around the 2nd century or even earlier. It pretty much expands on the events of Genesis pre-flood, what led up to the flood, and why God was justified in flooding the planet. Things contained in the Book of Giants are also mentioned in the books of Genesis, Jubilees, Enoch, 2nd and 3rd Baruch, the Genesis Apocryphon, the Damascus document, and the Book of Daniel. The topic of the Book of Giants is the creation of the Nephilim, also called the Rephaim. They were the creation of a species from angels who had relationships with human women. We also see the use of the terms demons and fallen angels in this document. According to the Book of Giants, God's original plan was to create the earth as a place to create and nurture humanity, to teach us morality and ritual conducts. When the Watchers saw how beautiful the women on earth were, they became seduced by them and ended up having children with them, which again were the Nephilim. So the Watchers also told humanity all kinds of secrets from heaven. They taught them all kinds of things like weaponry, art, just all kinds of different things that humanity didn't know about before. And it started to destroy humanity. Now, the Watchers and the Nephilim were essentially like a plague on the earth to mankind. And they viewed mankind as being a lesser species than they were. They began to devour all of the works of mankind and destroy everything that mankind was creating. They turned humans into slaves. They committed terrible acts of sexual debauchery against humans. They also partook in bestiality. They committed sexual assaults against each other. They murdered humans on a massive scale and got the number of humans on the planet down to a very, very small number. They also aborted their own children. The prophet Enoch went to God in an attempt to intercede for humans and to get redemption for the ones that were still left. And God, in his mercy, also decided to give the Watchers and the Nephilim one more chance at redemption. He sent prophetic dreams to two of the giant brothers whose names were Ohaya and Hahaya. And they didn't understand the dreams at all. And according to the dreams, they needed a prophet, and they also needed an oracle to decipher them. So they sent one of the giants, whose name was Maweh, to Enoch to ask him to help them interpret these dreams. So Enoch obliges. He tells Maweh everything that he knows, and he also gives him 2 tablets that contain inscriptions on exactly what the dreams mean and exactly what judgment God is sending to the Watchers and Nephilim that don't want to seek redemption. Maweh takes this information back to the Watchers and the Nephilim, and they disperse this information to all of them, but the majority of the giants decided to continue to rebel, but there were some that got redemption. The Iranian prophet Manai also wrote a version of the Book of Giants. In that version, the 2 giant brothers, Ohaya and Hahaya, are named Sam and Nariman. And according to this version, the fallen angels were actually demons who had been imprisoned in cages in the sky at the beginning of creation. They ended up escaping and coming to Earth and having children with human women. In this particular version, the army of light, or the forces of light, are led by 4 angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ishtrael, and they end up defeating and subduing the Watchers and the Nephilim. Though we don't know everything contained in the Book of Giants because there are lots of pieces of it missing, I do think that it's a really interesting study, and it does help to answer some questions that we might have regarding the pre-flood world described in Genesis and why a flood was even necessary. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see any of my other videos on the Dead Sea Scrolls, there is a playlist on my page, and I will talk to you soon. Shalom.